last week Jimmy and Tiffany Stopper shared how at their yard sale they had these little flyers where they invite people to church. And they met Andy and Rebecca Stahlbush. And they invited them, after they sold them some stuff, they invited them to come to church. Well, a few weeks later, guess who shows up at TCC? Andy and Rebecca Stahlbush. What you don't know is, not only did they come to TCC, but they've really gotten involved. In fact, they probably serve in just about every ministry in some way, shape, or fashion. Anyway, Andy and Rebecca are going to come up, and they're going to share a little bit about their involvement here at TCC.
As Doug said, I'm Rebecca, and this is my husband, Andy. We've been attending TCC for about 6 years, and where we left off last week was that Jimmy had invited us to attend TCC, or try it out, and Tiffany had invited me specifically to attend Beth Moore, who is here at the church, and having an event here for for the women of the church in the surrounding area. So just to give you a little bit of a background about where I was at in my walk with Christ at this time, and that is I did not have a walk with Christ. I was raised going to church in a Catholic church, but I never related well to the religion and I never understood it. So as I became older and had the choice, I just stopped going. Well, several months later, after we met Jimmy and Tiffany at the yard sale, we did start attending TCC. And I had been asking Andy a lot of questions about church and God because I knew that he had been a believer since he was young. And Tiffany called me up one day and invited me to go to Beth Moore. Now, I had not heard of her prior to this except for in church because a lot of people were talking about her coming and it was a big buzz. And I had decided myself not to buy a ticket because I didn't really know who she was and I didn't know if I would be comfortable there. But when Tiffany called and invited me and said she had an extra ticket, I said, it might be fun, I'll go. That Friday came along and I came home from work and I said to Andy, okay, I really don't want to do this. I said, there's this woman that I've met twice that's invited me to go to this church where there's going to be all these Christians, and I'm not a Christian, and what am I going to wear? But I said, I made the commitment. I really felt like I was back in middle school. Am I going to be accepted? So I made the commitment to go, and I felt like if I would go, I would probably have a good time. Well, we pulled up, and fortunately, Tiffany knew who Beth Moore was and had arranged ahead of time for people to save us some seats where we could sit near the front and really hear Beth talking to us. And during this time, I felt like God was really talking to my heart, and I kind of was thinking a lot about a lot of the things Andy had talked with me about. We had read the Bible together. We had been coming to TCC for several months, and by the time Beth Moore's event ended here at the church, I was ready to accept Christ as my Savior. And Beth invited anyone who was ready to do that to join her in a side room afterwards where I slid out and met with her and accepted Christ.
So like Rebecca said, we've been coming to TCC for about 6 years, and actually the first Sunday that we came was one of the first weeks that this building was open, and it was one that we had a pig picking out back with games and rides and all kinds of kids running around. It was kind of a circus-like atmosphere, so we felt like we fit right in right away. And actually the thing that led us to call TCC home was something that happened a while after that, not long after the official grand opening of the building. One of the founding pastors, Pastor Buddy Walters, passed away, and we were really touched by how the members of the church kind of rallied around each other and found strength in crisis. And we were going through kind of a low time in our lives at that point too. We were coming out of that, so we felt like we wanted to have what the people here have, and we decided to come and make this our home. One of the ways that we got connected not too long after we started coming was something where we had an opportunity to explore different ministries and kind of figure out where we could serve. And there was an interest card where we could check things that we were interested in. So on my card I checked, okay, I'm interested in helping with Promised Land, check, and the drama team and sound and lights and different things. And Rebecca had a card where she kind of did something similar to that. And little did we know, they all called us back. So we were very popular right away. And we've served in different capacities here for a while. I've helped out in Promised Land for probably since the beginning, and softball and drama team and stuff like that, and Rebecca's done Noah's Landing and a cafe. And along the way, we've met a lot of great people that we've made connections with. We made some lifelong friends that it turns out we're a lot like us. You know, they're busy, they have families and lives and stuff like that too, but they find a home here and they want to give back and they want to serve in different places. And another way that we connected not too long after we started was in community groups, or we called them small groups back in those days. But we were given the opportunity to either lead a small group or at least host one in our home, and we felt like we weren't far enough along in our walk. We wanted to learn more a little bit about it first. So we were matched up with a couple that was farther along in their walk with God, and some other families in our small group, and we, in that first study, we connected with them, and we made so many strides spiritually, but not just in what we learned in the study, but just kind of hanging out with other people, again, that were a lot like us. So from there, we were called to lead a couple small group or community groups, excuse me for cussing, lead a few community groups, and one of those community groups that we led was for financial ministries, and we had two couples sign up for our group, and one of those couples, before we even started, dropped out. So it was us and one other couple, and we were kind of testing the limits, or the definition of a small group at that point, two couples. So we debated back and forth whether or not we should even have it, because it's just us and one other couple. What if one of us doesn't show? Then we're only one, and all that stuff. So we decided that we would, and we're so glad and blessed that we did, because we met a couple named Patty and Mon Vonkchely, and you're going to hear a lot more from them next week, so you're definitely going to want to come back and hear from them. So thank you for your time.